The plane touched down with a gentle thud, shaking me from my drowsy state. It had been a grueling 5-day business trip in Chicago, filled with endless meetings and dreary hotel stays. All I wanted was the comforting embrace of home, the familiar laughter of my wife, Claire, and the peace that came from our shared silence. I wheeled my suitcase through the quiet streets of our neighborhood, the autumn leaves crunching softly under my feet. The twilight cast long shadows across the pavement, and the chill in the air hinted at the approaching winter. As I approached our cozy little house, the yellow porch light was a beacon of warmth. The door creaked open, and I stepped inside, the familiar smell of jasmine greeting me. "Claire?" I called out, my voice echoing slightly in the hallway. In here, her voice floated from the living room, a hint of something I couldn't quite place in her tone. As I walked in, I found her sitting on the couch, her eyes on a book in her lap, but her gaze was distant, unfocused. She looked up, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Welcome home, love." I leaned down to kiss her, but she turned her cheek at the last second, her attention already drifting back to her book. Perplexed, I glanced around the room and noticed a small, beautifully wrapped box on the coffee table, tied with a crimson satin ribbon. "What's this?" I asked, nodding towards the box. "A gift from a secret admirer," she replied lightly, still not meeting my eyes. I paused, the words catching me off guard. "A secret admirer?" My voice had an edge, one I didn't intend. She finally looked at me, her smile faltering. "Just a silly thing." "Open it." Curiosity piqued, I sat beside her and pulled the ribbon. The box lid came off easily, revealing a bottle of exquisite perfume, Amor Nocturne, a scent I recognized immediately. It was the same perfume I had wanted to buy for her last Christmas but had been too expensive at the time. My heart sank as I picked up the small card nestled beside the bottle. "For my favorite woman," it read in a flowing, elegant script. The room spun slightly, the walls closing in as the gravity of the situation settled on my shoulders. "Claire, what is this?" I managed, my voice strained. She bit her lip, looking away. "It's just a gift, Tom." "Someone being nice." "Nice?" I echoed, incredulity lacing my tone. "This is $100 perfume, Claire. Who would give you such an expensive gift out of a niceness?" She stood abruptly, her hands trembling slightly. "I don't know, Tom." "Why does it matter so much to you?" "Because it feels like you're lying to me." I stood too, the bottle clutched in my hand. "Who gave this to you?" Claire's eyes filled with tears, her usual calm demeanor crumbling. I don't want to talk about this now." "But I do. I need to know." She shook her head, backing away. "I'm sorry, Tom. I really am." With those words, she fled up the stairs, leaving me alone with the box and the scent of betrayal hanging heavy in the air. The pain in my chest was sharp, like a knife twisting deep. I realized then, the undeniable truth, that she was seeing someone else, someone who could afford to give her the things I couldn't. My jaw clenched as a cold resolve settled over me. Revenge, a path I never imagined I'd walk, now seemed the only way forward. I would start by finding out who this admirer was. And then, I would make sure that both Claire and he regretted ever crossing me. As I stood there, the scent of Amor Nocturne filled the room, a constant reminder of the betrayal, and a scent that would soon be tainted by the bitterness of revenge. The next morning dawn's overcast, the heavy clouds mirroring the turmoil in my heart. After a sleepless night, the sight of the untouched dinner from last night on the table does nothing to settle my stomach. I push the plate away, determined to find answers. I grab my jacket and head to the boutique where Claire buys her perfumes, hoping someone there might recognize the bottle and tell me who purchased it. The bell jingles sharply as I enter the quaint little shop, its shelves lined with delicately designed bottles. "Good morning. Can I help you find something?" The shop assistant, a young woman with bright green eyes, approaches me with a friendly smile. "I'm not here to buy," I start, pulling out the perfume bottle from my pocket. "I was wondering if you could tell me who bought this particular brand recently." She takes the bottle, her expression turning from cheerful to cautious. "I'm sorry, sir. We value customer privacy highly. I can't disclose that information." "Please," I implore, my voice laced with desperation. "It's important. I suspect my wife received this as a gift from someone who shouldn't be gifting her such things." Her eyes soften, and she glances around before leaning in closer. "Look, I shouldn't be doing this, but I did see something odd the other day. A man came in, didn't look like the type who'd shop here, but he bought that exact perfume. Paid cash. Did you get a good look at him? Anything you can tell me about his appearance?" "He was tall, dark-haired, well-dressed. Drove off in a black sedan. That's all I know." I thank her and leave the shop, the information turning over in my mind. A well-dressed man in a black sedan doesn't narrow it down much, but it's a start. As I walk back to my car, I notice a black sedan parked across the street. The coincidence is too stark to ignore. I approach cautiously, peering into the tinted windows, but see nothing. As I consider my next move, the driver's door opens, and a man steps out. He's exactly as the shop assistant described, tall, dark-haired, and his tailored suit speaks of money. "Can I help you?" he asks, a slight frown on his face. "I think you might already have," I reply, stepping closer. "Did you buy perfume from that shop recently?" His eyes narrow, assessing me. "And what if I did?" "Who are you?" "I'm someone who doesn't appreciate strangers buying expensive gifts for his wife." The man laughs, a sound devoid of humor. "Your wife? You must be Tom. Claire has told me quite a bit about you." Anger flares up inside me, hot and quick. "What's your relationship with my wife?" He smirks, his arrogance palpable. "I think you should be asking Claire about that. If you'll excuse me." Before I can react, he gets back into his car and drives off, leaving me with more questions than answers. Frustration seethes inside me, but the encounter has only added fuel to my resolve. I head home, my mind racing. Claire and this mystery man know each other well enough to talk about personal matters. This isn't just a casual acquaintance. As I pull into the driveway, I see Claire's car parked outside, and my resolve hardens. It's time for a confrontation. It's time to demand the truth, no matter how much it hurts. As I open the door, the scent of jasmine hits me again, now tainted with secrets and lies. Claire is in the kitchen, and as she turns to greet me, I know this conversation will change everything. As I step into the kitchen, the air feels charged, heavy with the impending storm. Claire looks up, her expression guarded, a tightness around her eyes that wasn't there before. "I need answers, Claire," I say, my voice firm, cutting through the quiet of the room. She wipes her hands on a towel, her posture stiffening. "Tom, I think you're overreacting. It's just a gift." "Just a gift?" I echo incredulously, slamming the boutique bag containing the perfume onto the counter. "From a man who knows enough about you to buy your favorite expensive perfume? Who laughs about me when I confront him? This is not just a gift, Claire." Her face pales, and she sits down abruptly at the kitchen table. "You met him?" "Yes, I met him," I snap, the anger and betrayal bubbling inside me. "Who is he, Claire? What is he to you?" She takes a deep breath, her fingers trembling slightly as she traces the grain of the wood on the table. "His name is Mark. He's a friend." "A friend who buys you expensive gifts?" I challenge, leaning across the counter to catch her gaze, forcing her to look at me. Claire's eyes fill with tears, and she nods slowly. "It started a few months ago. We met at a conference. He's in the same industry as us, and we just clicked." "Clicked?" I repeat, the word like a slap. "Enough to have an affair?" "It's not an affair, Tom," she insists, her voice breaking. "It's just lunch, talking, that's all. I swear. He knew I liked that perfume, I mentioned it once when we were shopping together." "Shopping together?" My voice rises, my hands clenching into fists at my sides. You think that's appropriate? For a married woman? We're just friends, she repeats, but her voice is less certain now, her gaze dropping. I shake my head, disbelief and pain warring within me. Friends don't hide things from their husbands. Friends don't receive expensive gifts secretly. I know it was wrong, she admits, her voice small. I should have told you. I never meant for it to go this far. I take a step back, trying to process everything. Why, Claire? Why him? Why lie? She looks up, her eyes meeting mine, raw with emotion. I don't know, Tom. I was lonely. You were always working, always away. He was there, and he listened. It was nice to feel seen. The honesty in her words stings, a reminder of the distance that had grown between us, nurtured by unspoken grievances and neglected affections. So, what now? I ask, my voice hollow. I don't know, Tom, she whispers. I love you. I never wanted to hurt you. I'll end it. I'll do anything to make this right. The room goes silent, save for the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. I look at her, really look, seeing not just the woman who might have betrayed me, but the woman I married, the woman who had been by my side through thick and thin. Okay, I say finally, the word heavy in my mouth. We'll try to fix this. But no more secrets, Claire. No more lies. She nods, relief mixed with fear in her eyes. No more secrets, she agrees. As we sit down to talk, really talk for the first time in months, I realize this is just the beginning. The road to recovery will be long and fraught with challenges, but I'm not ready to give up on us, not without a fight. Over the next few weeks, Claire and I tiptoed around each other, the air between us thick with the effort of rebuilding trust. We started attending counseling, and slowly, the icy silence thawed into cautious conversation. Despite our efforts, the shadow of her betrayal lingered, an uninvited guest at every meal, every moment shared in silence. Then, late one Friday evening, as I was wrapping up some work in my home office, the phone rang. The caller ID flashed a number I didn't recognize, but on impulse, I answered. Tom? It's Mark, the voice said, a hint of urgency in his tone that caught me off guard. Mark, I replied coolly. What do you want? I think we need to talk, he said. In person. There are things about the perfume and everything else you should know. Reluctant but intrigued, I agreed to meet him at a quiet bar downtown. The night was crisp, the stars obscured by the city's glow. As I entered the dimly lit space, I spotted Mark at a secluded table, his face tense. Thanks for coming, he said as I sat down. I owe you an explanation. You owe me more than that, I replied, but go on. Mark took a deep breath. The perfume wasn't a gift from a secret admirer. It was a ruse, part of a larger plan. A plan? I frowned, confusion mixing with a growing sense of unease. Yes, he continued. You see, Claire wasn't the target. You were. Me? Why? I demanded, my voice rising. Mark glanced around nervously before leaning in. I work for one of your competitors. They wanted to distract you, create personal chaos to throw you off during the big merger. I was hired to facilitate that. I stared at him, my mind reeling from the revelation. So, this was all a setup? To sabotage my career? Partially, he admitted. But it got out of hand. I actually came to care for Claire. I regret it all now. Rage and shock warred within me. My professional life, my marriage, everything had been manipulated for corporate games. What now? I asked, trying to contain the anger boiling inside me. I'm out. I told them I couldn't do this anymore. And I thought you should know the truth, Mark said, looking genuinely remorseful. I nodded, processing everything. Thank you for telling me. I guess we both have things to set right. Leaving the bar, I felt a strange sense of clarity. Claire's betrayal, though real in its emotional consequences, was also a part of something bigger, something neither of us could have anticipated. When I got home, Claire was waiting up, her expression anxious. I told her everything Mark had revealed, and as dawn crept across the sky, we made a decision that felt like the first step towards genuine recovery. Weeks turned into months, and our relationship slowly started to heal, now fortified by the knowledge of the external forces that had tried to tear us apart. Claire quit her job and started working with me, turning her insight into an asset for my business rather than a tool for others to exploit. One evening, as we sat watching the sunset from our back porch, Claire leaned against me, her presence a comforting weight. "Tom," she said softly, "do you think we can ever go back to how things were?" I took her hand, feeling the worn edges of our wedding rings. "No," I replied after a moment, "but maybe we can go somewhere better." The future was uncertain, and the road ahead was undoubtedly fraught with challenges. But as we sat there together, the last light of day painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, I knew we were ready to face whatever came our way, united by a bond that had been tested, broken, and slowly, painstakingly mended.